Today we discussed about the nucleus. So first we will see what are the different parts of a nucleus. The first thing is the nuclear membrane. So in a cell, if we consider this as the cell, we know that we denote the nucleus as this. So this is the cytoplasm, this is the plasma membrane, and this is the nucleus. The nucleus, the whole area is the nucleus, and this membrane that we draw to remark the whole area will be called as the nuclear membrane. So this is nuclear membrane, and the nuclear membrane, just like the plasma membrane, it will have pores. These pores, what they will do, suppose in here we are considering it as here small pores are there. So from here substances can move out to the cytoplasm, and when required substance can move in from the cytoplasm to the nucleus. So the nuclear membrane, like we have seen, has pores that allow transfer of material from outside to inside and inside to outside. The outside is nothing but the cytoplasm. The second thing is the nucleoplasm. Nucleoplasm is the fluid present inside the nucleus. Like inside the cell, here we had fluid. This we called cytoplasm, and the fluid that will be bound by the nuclear membrane or that will be present inside the nuclear membrane, we will call that as the nucleoplasm. Cytoplasm, similarly nucleoplasm. And the third material is the genetic material that will be present inside the nucleus. So the nucleus will contain nuclear membrane that has pores that will allow the transfer of material. Then it will have nucleoplasm, and along with it the genetic material. The genetic material can be DNA and RNA. That is, some organism will have DNA as the genetic material. On the other hand, some will have RNA as their genetic material. Now when we look at a cell, if we look at it during cell division, we will see that the genetic material looks different than in the other times. Either in the other time, what happened, if we draw this as a cell and in here we have the nucleus, the genetic material will be inside. So when the cell is not dividing or during the other time, what happens, the chromosome is present like this. That is, the genetic material is present like thread, and this thread like material we call it as chromatin. This is chromatin. The same material during the cell division, what will happen? Now I am not drawing the cell, I am only drawing this chromatin part. During cell division, this chromatin will become properly arranged. So what will happen? They will start coiling, and highly coiling, not just simply slow coiling or something, very high coiling, and it will form rod like structures, something like this. It will coil and then it will form rod like structure. So this look like a rod overall. If we see, when these are open and entangled, they form the chromatin, and when they form the rod like structure, we call them as chromosome. So during the cell division, the genetic material is present as chromosome, that is in rod like structure, and during other time we can see only a like entangled thread, and this is called as the chromatin. So this is nucleus and its parts. So now we will look into more details about DNA. The full form of DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid. Now we will break the word to know the real meaning. First word is deoxyribo. Deoxyribo. When we break it down, we get three terms: D, oxy and ribo. D stands for no. No means something the word is attached to, it is opposite of that. If it is saying oxy and deoxy, that means there is no oxygen. Where there is no oxygen? In the ribo part, and the ribo part represents the ribose sugar. Ribose sugar is what? A 5 carbon sugar. So in this 5 carbon sugar there is no oxygen. Such type of sugar will be called as deoxyribose sugar. But here we are taking only the first part. So deoxyribo. Now what kind of material the DNA is? It is a nucleic acid. That means from the term nucleic we can understand that it is present in the nucleus. It is present in the nucleus and it is a acid. That means the DNA is acidic in nature. So from the word itself we can understand some of the properties. That means the DNA molecule will not have oxygen in the ribose sugar. It is present inside the nucleus and it is acidic in nature. Now let us discuss about chromosomes. So what are basically chromosomes made up of? The chromosomes are made up of DNA and protein. That means whenever we talk about chromosomes, it is not only about DNA, but there are some protein that help in keeping the DNA in a particular shape, or it is used for packaging of the DNA. So together the DNA plus the protein will form the chromosome. Now we will see what the DNA is made up of. The DNA is made up of some segment. There will be many segments in the DNA. The segment which will express itself. That means the part of the DNA which will give the character, or whose character will be seen, like the color of your hair, the color of your eyes. Those characters are visible. Those are expressed. Or the height. Such characters are called as functional. And also there are some segment of DNA that are that do not express, or they do not have any type of meaningful information. Such non-meaningful DNA parts are called as non-functional DNA segment, and those parts that are functional or that will express it or that have some information that are seen, those are called as gene. So gene is nothing but a part of DNA that is functional. And the DNA is made up of both functional and non-functional segments. The name of the functional segment is gene. So what can we say? That chromosome is made up of gene, non-functional part of DNA plus protein. Okay, so what are the role of nucleus? The first thing is that it is very important for the process of cell division. Here we know that the nucleus contains the genetic material. That means the nucleus will contain the genetic information, or all the information starting from our parents' generation till the generations above them, of our grandparents, of our great grandparents, information about all of that, because everything is present inside the DNA itself. So they will contain the genetic information, and also it is the nucleus that finally does the cell division. That is, from one cell we will get two new cells, and the nucleus is mainly responsible for the process of the cell division. The next thing is that the character of a mature person is determined by gene and the environment, both. That means somewhere in determining the character of a person, by character I am not talking about personality, I am talking about the physical appearance or the way the things will act inside his body. Such character are dependent on gene as well as environment. So it is also the role of nucleus because gene is involved here. So how it will depend? Suppose I am taking two Indian twins. Okay, person A and person B. They are twins. Now they will have the same genetic information because both are twins. Now what will happen? For checking the environment thing, what I will do, I will send one twin baby to, suppose you say, in a cold climate, and one twin baby I will send in a hot climate place for years. Okay, not for just 1 day or 2 day, for years. Suppose the babies were born and then they were sent to different orphanages. Then what will happen? The boy that will stay in the cold climate will maintain his genetic look, or suppose say if we talk about the skin color, his skin color was suppose whitish color like our we people. So suppose the skin color was whitish. You understand now what is whitish? It means not so dark, not so light. And what will happen in the cold climate? He is not getting too much of sunlight, so he will not get sunburn or his skin color will not get darkened. But the twin baby that was placed in a hot climate since his birth, what will happen over a period of time, due to exposure to the heat and sunlight, his genetic color may be whitish, but his skin will turn dark because of the sun. That means in determining the skin color, we cannot say only genes are responsible. Both gene as well as environmental condition decides how the character will end up during the maturity of a person or of an organism. The next thing is about the prokaryote and the eukaryotes. In prokaryote, we will see first what the name means. Pro means old or primitive. That means something that is old. And karyon means nucleus. So a nucleus that is of old type, such organisms whose nucleus will be of old type will be known as prokaryotes. And in eukaryotes, the nucleus will be of true type. Why true? We will discuss it now. But remember, U means true, karyon means nucleus. So the organisms having a true nucleus are called as the eukaryotes. Now let's come to what are prokaryotes. In some organisms like bacteria. So bacteria are a very old species of organism. So what happens in such organism? This is the plasma membrane. We know that bacteria are what? They are unicellular. That means they have single cell. So here what happens? Their genetic material is present somewhere here, but this material is not covered or is not bounded by a membrane. It has simply a denoted area without a membrane where the genetic material is present. So such type of cells or such type of organism where the nuclear membrane is not properly denoted or is not properly defined, it is not properly present, such type of organisms are old or primitive type. So they are called prokaryotes. Example is bacteria. And such type of nucleus, we won't call that a nucleus because there is no nuclear membrane. So we will simply call it nucleoid. When you see the term nucleoid, you will understand that it is an undefined nucleus which is present in the bacteria and other prokaryote organisms. So this is about prokaryote. Now come to eukaryote. So now here we are writing true. Why true? Because in this kind of organism, the cell will have a proper nuclear membrane. So the nucleus is properly defined. Therefore, we call it as true nucleus, where inside it there will be nucleoplasm and a genetic material. So this we will call as nucleus. And the other one, nucleoid. This is prokaryote and this is eukaryote.